maybe we can sing our
Okay.
birthday, right?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
What? I'm not the girl. But we can sing Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna, dear Nanda. Hare Krishna.
Is your piece de la resistance?
Srila Prabhupada was in Calcutta. That's where he took his birth. And so his early days there, the temple that he went to, where he met his spiritual master. So those are the sites that now ISKCON has those centers, and they're turning them into beautiful memorials. So he visited there for the first time. So that is what he's going to be sharing with us.
Here we go. Uh-oh, there we go. Oh, drooping mic. Like the mic is falling asleep.
You want the whole thing raised?
No.
You don't want to raise, you just want to talk about
I
it.
just want to, this thing, look at me. Okay. Well, all the technology is coming. Is this on? Yeah. What we do? Who can fix this? Only Duro can fix it, right?
It's not going to fix, but he's being close.
Oh,
I'll just move the whole thing.
that's good. Oh. There you go. Whoop. See, it worked fine in rehearsal, right? It's always like that. So Srila Prabhupada was among the most recorded people in the 20th century. You want to get at the slideshow?
I mean, yeah, but it's not working.
Why? Who knows? Why? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Yay! Woo! So I call this Srila Prabhupada's early Calcutta pastime races. And how do we know about any of this? Because Prabhupada told us. Prabhupada is among the most recorded people of the 20th century. So we have, literally thousands of hours of morning walks, room conversations, press conferences, initiation, there's so much, not to mention what he wrote, all these books. So Prabhupada told us about these things, but I didn't know until this year that you could actually go, a lot of these places that Prabhupada, where he was born and where he went to school, I didn't know you could go there. These places are still there. And not only that, I didn't know that there are devotees in Prabhupada's hometown. They say Kolkata, now in Prabhupada's time it was Calcutta, still the colonial pronunciation, now they kind of assert themselves. So, but there's devotees in East Calcutta, a place called Newtown, who will take you on tours. They will tour you around. So this devotee, his name was Acharya Ratna, and he visited here in Tucson. He was just touring America. And he said, Sergio, you got to come to Newtown and bring your founder Acharya seminars, and we'll do those in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we'll take you around. to show you where Prabhupada was born, where he met his Guru Maharaj. And so, wow, really? So usually when I go to Calcutta, I land about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I just stay in Subhash Chandra Bose Airport, and I just chant my rounds. And then when it gets safe and the sun rises, I don't want to go outside when it's dark. Then I usually taxi right up to Mayapur, right? 90 miles north. But this time, the Newtown devotees who are only about a half hour away in East Calcutta, and they just picked me up. And so that's where I recovered from jet lag for a few days. And then when I was a little functional, then we started doing the Prabhupada seminars, and they started taking me around. So this is a nice pen line drawing done by my late godbrother Haripad Prabhu. He did a few of these, actually many of those. So let's begin at the beginning. And okay, so when we toured, a godbrother of mine and his wife, Pushpavan and Nandi, they came and I said, look, I want to bring this experience back to Tucson. So can you take pictures? He said, yeah, sure. I'll crop them and, do all this stuff. So on September 1st, 1896, at a place called Taligunj in South Calcutta, Prabhupada took birth. And in just pretty recently, actually, within the past couple of years, ISKCON devotees purchased the property where Prabhupada was born. The house is long gone, but the property the devotees purchased, and now it's under renovation. So I'm sitting under a sign. They kind of like planted their flag and put the sign up, but there's a lot. The whole place is a construction site. That's just like a relatively clear part of the place. So Prabhupada famously, he told us I was born under a jackfruit tree. So that tree. Okay, so there I am sitting by the body of the tree. The tree perished. The tree the soul that was in the tree's body left, but they still kept a big part of it there to show you the actual tree. So there I am sitting there by the tree. And so what happened before the tree perished? They did a cutting. So there I am, hugging the descendant of the jackfruit tree in that birthplace site. Yeah. So that tree will now, mark the birthplace. And they were actually able to identify, talking with, because Prabhupada's mother, her name was Rajni, and the father was Gormohan. And so to give birth to her son, Abhay Charande, she went to the house of her mother, her parents, and they were on Taligunj. And so, the house is long gone, but the devotees, when they got the property, through talking with the descendants, they were able to ascertain where the house was, where Rajni actually gave birth. So right in that area, that's where Srila Prabhupada took birth. In the West, what's an analog in the West, a cultural analog? George Washington slept here, Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address here, and you go to these places and there's a certain kind of potency. If you go to Gettysburg to this day and stand, where Lincoln gave his Gettysburg Address, famous, 87, one of the shortest but most powerful speeches ever given. There's a certain potency in that. What to speak of when you go to a place where a holy person took birth, and you can feel Prabhupada's Shakti there still to this day. Okay, so that was in 1896 that Prabhupada took his birth. And Ananta, I can't see the clock. I still can't see it because it's dark.
It's 12.
Okay. Let me just. Oh, it's on my computer too. Okay. All right. So let's go let's backtrack because, yeah. So there is the father of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. Prabhupada's spiritual master was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and his father was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was, Prabhupada said, was the pioneer of the Krishna consciousness movement for the modern era. He envisioned the whole, the Krishna consciousness spreading all over the world. He envisioned this amazing Vedic planetarium going out. He called it an Adbhuta Mandir. He looked across the Jalangi. You can go to his house to this day, across the Jalangi, a tributary of the Ganga, the Ganges, and you just look, and there it is. There's the TLVP going up. Temple Kum Planetarium, the fusion of science and spirituality, which is it's a perfect preaching platform these days. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in a journal in Bengali in the 1880s, he predicted that a personality will soon appear who will take Krishna Bhakti all over the world. And sure enough, Prabhupada was born in 1896. And so here I am. This is not a Prabhupada pastime place, but it's linked to the whole presentation because what am I holding in my hand? Can you see what I'm holding? A typewriter. We went to this place called Bhakti Bhavan in Calcutta, and the devotees just got the place a few months ago. So the whole place, and they want to turn that into a shrine to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So the whole place was like construction, right? Just a mess. And I mean, you could never do this in America. You would need a hard hat to walk, in the place and go upstairs. But there's, it's India, right? So everybody's walking around, and I'm just like dodging this and that. And we go upstairs, and our little guide, he said, "And Prabhu, we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, we have the bed where he disappeared in June 1914. We have the bed. And now I'm going to bring out of this bag." And it's just all the stuff that's shoved in the corner, amidst the construction dust. So that's why it looks dusty. So this was the high point of my whole trip, holding in my hands the very typewriter where Bhaktivinoda typed his books. And it's a real ancient machine. I mean, you got to mash those keys, go, right? It's so old. It's a late 1800s typewriter. And there I am holding it. Of course, they're going to clean it up. Once they get the whole place renovated, they're going to clean it up and maybe put it in a case. But he said, "Here, hold it." So, all right, push it on, snap this. And it's like, wow, this is the book. This is the typewriter that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he typed this book in the year of Prabhupada's birth, 1896. He typed the book, Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts, in English, because Bhaktivinoda could read and speak in English, Hindi, Bengali, and Sanskrit, 4 languages. So he in English, he sent this book, Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts. He sent it to Oxford University in England. He sent it to McGill University in Montreal. He sent it to the University of Canberra. When I was in Australia several years ago, the temple president said, "Hey, Suresvara, would you like to see would you like to see a copy of Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts? Come on, we're going to go to the University of Canberra. It's the capital of Australia." I said, "Really? I thought he only sent it to McGill." He sent it all over the world. He sent a copy to Emerson at Cambridge, Mass. So that was just too much to hold this. It's like holding, I don't know, the Gutenberg Bible or the Shroud of Turin. I mean, I don't want to get blasphemous here, but it's like you're holding this relic. This is the first time that Krishna Bhakti literature had been outside of India. He typed and on this machine. Ooh, wow. So talk about potency. So yes, yeah, all right. And now, so Prabhupada appeared in 1896 in South Calcutta at Taligunj. And these, anybody know who these deities are? Yes, but Radha Govinda where?
Yes. place or near his.
Yes, near his house. Prabhupada lived in South Calcutta, and so and the devotees are actually trying to. There's different people living in those places, in that place where Prabhupada grew up, but the devotees are trying to get buy these people out, so they can turn that into a shrine, a holy, a memorial for Srila Prabhupada. And then right down Mahatma Gandhi Road, it's within walking distance. These are the first deities that inspired Srila Prabhupada. And I'd always read that Prabhupada said, the deity with his beautiful slanting eyes. So you can see, the eyes going back toward the ears. And there's Radharani. So this is the days and the muliks. They were related by marriage at some place in their history. So for over 200 years, the muliks have been worshipping Sri Sri Radha Govinda. And this is the deities that Prabhupada, as a little child, he would go and he would just watch for hours. He would just gaze at these deities, the beauty of the deities. So they were the first deities to inspire our Srila Prabhupada as a child. So we took darshan. I was able to get close because we got there just at the right time. It was about 4:45 p.m. and the Pujari just happened to be there. He's not always there. And the whole, like we have a curtain here in front of our deities, but there was like an iron, sort of a gate with different sides coming together. So he shows up just at the right time and he unlocks and he said, come closer. So we were able to, we asked him photo. He said, that's okay. It's okay. Photo. Okay. So we took these pictures of Radha. This picture, this was the best one. And ISKCON is also in negotiation with the Mullik Trust family because this is a big deal because can you imagine if deities like this had been in your family for over 200 years and so now an outside party wants to come in and buy the property. So the Acharya Ratna from Newtown, he said, yeah, we'll get it. They know we really want it badly, so they keep raising the price. So they'll probably get this too over time. Yeah. All right. So there's, after Prabhupada left this world, then by Krishna's grace, all the artists that had been illustrating Prabhupada's books, they were still in Los Angeles. It was just the LA BBT, North American BBT, it was the only BBT. So Prabhupada passed in 1977, went back to Godhead, and then in 78, at the Mayapur festival, I just came back. And so Sasarup Maharaj was commissioned to write the authorized biography of Prabhupada. So the artist just kept painting. Okay, now we're going to do paintings for these. So this is a picture. So there's Gaur Mohan depicted, and there's little Abhay, Prabhupada, and he's pointing at the deities. And so it was Gaur Mohan Day who taught Abhay how to worship Radha Krishna in their deity forms. And then eventually, he also was conducting Rath Yatras all up and down the road for the muliks. There's the bullocks and the days, and little Prabhupada is offering. And to him, it was serious. It wasn't like, kids playing. It was like, this is really serious Rath Yatra. Now, I came across in the Bhaktivinoda archive, they have thousands and thousands of pictures, and there's one picture, and it's kind of blurry, but you can't even see. It's very blurry. But anyway, it was marked as the Radha Govinda deities that Gaur Mohan Day gave Prabhupada to worship. So so I couldn't find out. I asked Acharya Ratna, so where are these deities now? It looks like maybe they're in some temple or something. So he said, well, so I wrote Harishari, who was served Prabhupada for a long time. And he said, actually, these deities were in Prabhupada's possession, and they were his personal deities. And Harishari knew that because sometimes he had to worship in Prabhupada's place if Prabhupada was doing something else. So then he said, so Harishari said, so then when Prabhupada went back to Krishna, then Baba Tarini, Prabhupada's sister, she took the deity. She took her brother's deities, and she kept them, and she was worshiping them. And then when she passed, she bequeathed the deities to Mayapur, and they were put on the altar in front of Radha Madhava. And then Harishari said, and then in the middle of the night, once, some thieves came and stole the deities. So this was taken before they were stolen, but they're just gone. But anyway, yeah, they were the deities that Gaur Dey gave to Abai. And then when Prabhupada, he went off to school. We also went to what Prabhupada went to, University of Calcutta system. It's called Scottish Churches College. Today, I guess it's some legal change. It's just called Scottish Church, but it's the same thing. College that Prabhupada attended. That was also right in the area, same area where we were. So it's very convenient to Radha Govinda Mandir and Scottish Churches College. And then we asked a passing professor if he knew that our Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, had attended there. To which the professor replied, of course, everyone knows that. Because Prabhupada became the most famous graduate of Scottish Churches College. Because he took Krishna consciousness all over the world. Yeah. So they know it, but our task, as Acharya Ratna says, is to make the whole world aware of Srila Prabhupada. And that's what they're doing. If you go to this place in East Kolkata, Newtown, they're building a whole temple in back of their temporary temple. They have 22 acres, and they're building a 200-foot tall building. And it's called the Abhay Tirtha Project. And the idea is that they want everybody to know about Srila Prabhupada. And the whole inspiration for the project was, and I saw there was a letter right in their temple room. Our Prabhupada wrote a godbrother of mine named Gargamuni in February 1970. And he said, Calcutta is my hometown. So you should do something wonderful in Calcutta to spread Krishna consciousness. Make it very grand. So that's what they're doing now. This is 56 years later. Yeah, they started it, I think, about 7 years ago in East Calcutta. So, yeah, when Prabhupada went to Scottish Churches College, those deities that Gaur Mohan gave him, his father gave him, he put them away in a box because he was so busy with studies, he didn't have time for worship anymore. And then he had a dream, and then Prabhupada told us he had a dream, and then the deity said, why are you keeping me in a box? So he took him out again after he graduated. And Prabhupada, he passed his exams. He had a concentration in English and economics and philosophy, and so he passed. But it was the time of protesting against the British occupation of India, because it was getting too much. The British were getting so abusive and murderous toward the Indians. So Gandhi, with his nonviolent, non-cooperation movement, he said, we should boycott all things British, don't buy the British cloth, and don't accept any, British degrees. So it was under the British Raj system, Scottish Churches College. So Prabhupada, he passed his exams, he refused the diploma. So, all right. All right, so now, so the BBT artists, then, you know, they were, because the first volume, we still have sets of Lilamrita? We don't? Okay, we can get them. If this presentation inspires you, we can get, in Kirtaneshwar can get them. We can get sets of the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. And in the first volume, it's called A Lifetime in Preparation, and it chronicles from Prabhupada's birth up to a certain time, his life. And so they're depicted in the painting in 1922 in the summer. It was summertime. Prabhupada met his Guru Maharaj. Oh, it's getting late. Okay. And that was the seed of the Hare Krishna movement. Because there's a Bai sitting right there in our lower right. And Abai, Prabhupada said, I was Gandhi's devotee at the time. I was following Gandhi. So Bhaktisiddhanta said to Prabhupada and his friend Naren, he said, you're an educated young man. Why don't you spread Lord Chaitanya's message all over the world? And they didn't know him, but he was trying to recruit people to preach. So Prabhupada, he said, I was Gandhi's devotee. So he said, well, who will listen to us? Who will listen to your Chaitanya's message? We're a captive nation. First, we have to get the boot of the British Raj off our neck. We have to get the British out of India. Nobody listens to a captive country. And then Bhaktisiddhanta said, oh no, Krishna consciousness is too important to wait for a change in politics. This is the emergency need of every living being. So Prabhupada was struck with wonder because he had never been defeated before. Bhaktisiddhanta defeated him. And Prabhupada told us, I accepted him immediately, not officially, but in my heart. And then, so Alta Dunga, this is the rooftop. You see that? And that's a pretty fair rendition of it. But now if you go to number 1, Alta Dunga rooftop, where Prabhupada, met his spiritual master, now the devotees since 2017, they bought the place and they renovated it. Now it's a beautiful shrine to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada. And there's a seat for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Cell phones off, please. Thank you very much. So it's really, talk about energy, where Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada first met, right in that spot. Ooh, boy. Then they served us a beautiful feast too. Wonderful devotees there. Okay, and then, what I'm doing there is offering a flame to Bhaktisiddhanta's deities, Gandharva, Giridhari. Gandharva, Giridhari. Beautiful deities. And then Prabhupada's getting initiated. And when Prabhupada, and this is in Allahabad, Prayag, where they have a Kumbh Mela, famous. And when Bhaktisiddhanta initiated Srila Prabhupada, he said, you should study very deeply Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we know now as the Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada wrote a summary study. And so here, another place we stopped was the Bhaktivedanta Research Center, which on Prabhupada's order, all ancient literatures are being collected in the Gaudiya Vaishnava line. And I'm standing, you see that shelf that says Srila Rupa Goswami? So these researchers and these interviewers are going out all over the countryside, and they're collecting ancient manuscripts, or if they're not allowed to take them, because how did the Goswamis write 500 years ago? They wrote on palm leaves with different inks, and they wrote in Bengali and Sanskrit. So if they're too fragile, and most of them are, then they just they take photos of them, and then they're preserved in these sheets. So there's Srila Rupa Goswami manuscripts. And so the original, photo, at least, of the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu is there. And let's see. Okay. I want to show you one 2-minute thing at the end. Okay. All right. About a year before Bhaktisiddhanta himself passed away, this is November 1935 at Radhakund, he was confiding in the person who would become our Prabhupada about the future of his mission. He was concerned about the future of his mission. There was a lot of fighting going on and materialistic tendencies. So, and he told Prabhupada, if you ever get money, print books. Because they had a big fancy temple. They moved from that Altadanga rooftop, they moved to a place called Bag Bazaar, which we went to. And it's a Gaudiya Math temple. All marble, it's like a marble palace, because a wealthy patron had paid for this. So Bhaktisiddhanta said, I wish I could sell the marble off those walls and just print books. If you ever get money, print books. And that order went deep into Prabhupada's heart. And that's why we have so many books. And that's why there's so much emphasis on book production and distribution in ISKCON. And there, in that Bag Bazaar Gaudiya Math, we were allowed to open the shutters of the windows and take a photo of the disappearance bed of his spiritual master. This is the bed from which Bhaktisiddhanta disappeared. It's a very nicely kept room. And here we are. This is a Prabhupada Murti, just like we have Prabhupada's Murti, or sacred statue, here. So the first ISKCON temple in India, established in 71, I think, was in a place called Albert Road. You've been to Albert Road? Yeah. So now they've renovated the whole temple, and it's beautiful. It's some wealthy congregational members, and they've redone it. And there's Prabhupada's Murti. And then there are the presiding deities in the temple are also, Prabhupada named them Radha Govinda, inspired by his first love, Radha Govinda deities. And then right next to the temple room is Prabhupada's room, where Prabhupada used to entertain guests and write his books. So it's a very nice place. And now, this is a 2-minute video I want to share with you. Let's bring it all back to Tucson, because Prabhupada is sitting in Tucson, Arizona. How is that? Because he took Krishna consciousness all over the world. And someone like Sandamani Devi brought Krishna consciousness from Phoenix to Tucson, right, in the 80s. So here we are, enjoying Krishna Prasadam, enjoying the association of devotees, enjoying Nana, keeping time for the bhajan band. It's Prabhupada who brought us all together in Krishna consciousness. So just before I went to India, one of our congregational members, Mary Morales Erickson, she gave me a box. I said, "What's this, Mary?" She said, "Well, my brother passed away, and I wish you would take this to the Ganges, because it's a tradition. In our tradition, there's a custom of spreading the ashes of the loved one over the sacred Ganges and wishing the soul well." So I did that just a couple of days before I started my way back here. Oh, I'm just going to press the button, and you're going to hear me. Hopefully it'll work. Lalita, oh, she's not here. Oh, you are? Okay, let's see if it works. This is how we wished her brother well. Krishna, my name is Suresvara, and I have the opportunity, by the grace of Mary Morales, to be here at the sacred river Ganges, Madhurganga, to spread the ashes of their dear brother, Raymond Roy Guy Morales, who died untimely not long ago. And Mary tells me that Guy, he loved Krishna Prasadam, he loved the devotees, devotees are not coming to the temple. And so now what we're going to do is spread Gaia's ashes over the sacred river Ganges. This is an opportunity to wish the soul well on its onward journey back home, back to Godhead. So we have the urn. There's the urn. And we take the ashes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanandi, Hare Bol. No time for questions, but I guess we'll just worship the deity. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.